right, here we go. It's time to paint it up, make it look nicey nice. Start with black. There's, I guess, two true ways you could do this. You go dark and then work your way up to light. Or you could start off light and then using washes and such, you can work your way up to dark. I prefer this method. Don't let whatever I do limit you in any of these steps. If you see something that might work better for you, by all means, just jump right in and fucking do it, yo. So let's talk about colors. Obviously, I started with black, and I'm going to slowly build the color up. I'm going to sneak up on this. So a lot of times it's going to look like caca until I get all the palette in there. You'll see. And I usually start with a real dark brown. This is a burnt umber. Love this stuff. And then I'll work my way up to varying, like burnt sienna and just plain brown. And here's a color I use for everything. Brick red. This is a really good rust color, dried blood color. And the odd thing about brick red here, and it's this specific brand. I will never tell you to buy a specific brand. But Craft Smart, for some reason, their brick red, depending on what you paint with, paint it on, I should say, sometimes it looks a little more red. Sometimes it looks a little more brown. It's amazing stuff. Other optional stuff that I may or may not use is a flesh tone. Mustard color. I have a red here because I know I'm going to need something for the carvings. It's that one right there. It's some kind of crimson. It's kind of like the next one up from the brick red. And I got a couple of greens here, a nice dark green and a shamrock. So I don't know if I'll be using those, but I have them on hand just in case. So let's go ahead and just start painting this. I'm not going to hit it hard. The first dark brown layer will be a heavy one, but I'm not going to make sure it's covering everything. I'll leave some of the black to stay. And I don't want to be gentle with this either, so I'm going to use an old chip brush that I, keep reusing. And I'm not even going to clean this chip brush off too often in between colors. I'm going to just brush off as much paint as I can, go to the next color, and that'll help blend things and, it just adds to the whole aesthetic of it. So let's get started. Initial coat is pretty much done. I just went from a combination of, I started with burnt umber, then put some burnt sienna on there, and then of course just some regular brown just to tone it down a little bit. And then I started working on a mixture of these two, and that's basically what you got here. And I would use this as it dried up, and some of this, and of course I would even use some of that. I know the lighting in here sucks, so it's probably going to look a little more red than it really is in real life. It's looking like a lump of poo-poo. But yeah, I'm happy with it so far. And the great thing here is I did it while everything was still kind of wet. And that it helps blend it a little bit. And that's awesome. So another thing you need to think about with these kind of paints is they dry darker than what they look like when they first go on. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I may or may not come through with just the slightest dry brush of something lighter. Maybe dry brush a little bit of dark brown over that just to, again, take it down. And we might almost be done. How cool is that? Right here, I'm gonna take a little of this natural buff and mix it into this brown while it's still a little bit wet. see if we can't come up with something. Yeah, just enough, you know. Let's just mix it in there. Let's mix it in. I kind of feel like Bob Ross right now. What the fuck? Maybe get a little more of the brown in there. I don't want it too light because, you know, we're so dark right now. I don't want it to call attention to itself. But, I mean, we could always just go backwards. So, that's not a big deal. Let me just put one drop of this in there. One drop. Burnt sienna. Burnt umber, rather. And we don't want a lot of paint on here. Again, we're not dry brushing just yet. But I want just enough to kind of bring a few things out here and there. Especially around here, you know. Just give it a little something, you know. Happy little trees. I prefer to do stuff by hand. A lot of people use airbrushes and stuff like that. I've never had the space for something like that. I don't think I've ever actually used... Well, no, I have used an airbrush. That's a lie. I've used an airbrush when I was making props for the haunted attraction industry. So let's take that back just a little bit. Just wiggle it, you know? So, here we go. Here we go. So now things are starting to pop. You can really see it now. Let me see if I can't get that in there. What I did was I took 2 drops of that brick red and I kind of mixed in with some of this brown. And I don't really want much on the brush at all. This is like dry brushing to the extreme, but I do want to make sure that the brush is paletted, as they call it. It's got paint on it. And I'm going to just stipple around the carving because I'm going to use the brick red to kind of highlight some of this stuff. And I don't want it to just jump out. So I want it to kind of blend. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of stipple a little bit of it on there. Just to give the area around the carving a little bit of red. Maybe it's stained blood. Maybe it's, you know, irritation that just kind of stuck around. And it's very subtly. I know you can't see it. And it's tough to even see it here in person. And I'm going to hit around the controller. Little creases here. So it gives it a little bit of a, you know, that area's been cut away. And we need to give it a little bit of detail. I'm going to try to get a little more on here. And then I'm going to do it around the edges. And again, the idea is this is where the skin was carved. So there would obviously be like a slight red to it because of, I don't know, a little bit of blood, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it's not really evident when you first look at it, but it's those little details that pop out subconsciously. Give it just a little bit, give it a little bit of realism. Acrylics, you don't really have a lot of time to work with them unless you have a big glob of it somewhere. So I'm trying to do this as quick as possible. So let me get around the actual controller, buttonholes, and then let me hit it really hard. And that's the cool thing about dry brushing is that the brush gets dry, you can actually start really digging into it. And then maybe just give it a quick once over with it. Blend it all in. Again, this is very subtle, and I know it's not picking up on the camera, but I promise you, that looks awesome. All right, so let's just work on the detail here. Let's get it covered, and Bob's your fucking uncle. Oh, let's start working on the carvings here. I got a number of different little small brushes. You never know which ones are going to work well for you when you get the little details like this. So for this, I'm just going to go with that brick red. I'm going to use a clean part of my palette. I use the word clean very loosely because I never clean my fucking palettes. But since I don't really do masterpieces, and usually whatever I'm painting is of a horror-esque related kind of deal, it kind of adds to it. So this is going to jump out right away as soon as I put it in there, but that's okay. We're going to be able to take this back with washes and such, so... I got the darkest red I have. It's this Alzarian Crimson, or whatever the fuck. You read it. You tell me what it says. And I put 1 drop in what was left over of the brick red. And I think that's really going to make this pop a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to be as detailed. I'm just going to kind of lay it in there a little bit. Just to give it a little, you know, again, it's going to dry darker than how it goes in. And I've said it 20 times, but the washes will get in there and help out. Got a little on the outside. Again, that's okay. And this will just drag it. More on the brush. Push some of it off. And this will just kind of give it a little bit of a highlight. The brick red is still showing. It's just going to blend in nicely. It really is. Pat of the brown, just this dark brown that I have in here. I'm not putting a lot on my finger, but just enough. And I'm just lightly going over the raised area around the characters, just in case there's any red that stands out. That's it. We're ready for a wash. We're in the home stretch now, folks. Next to final step, we're going to do a wash. And this is literally like 2 drops of black and a whole bunch of water. You want this real liquidy. And then what you're going to do is you're going to dip your brush. Now this brush here is the one I used to actually paint the black on here to begin with. And it's been sitting in a solution of water and soap just to, you know, keep the brush from drying up. But now what you want to do is you just want to cover a large amount of it with this solution. And then just before it dries, take some soft, in this case it's toilet paper. I got some shit tickets. And just gently pat it off. Don't wipe it. You want to leave some of it there. The idea is for this to get into the creases and just to tone down some of the color. Make sure some gets in there. I'll pat it off. And like I said, anything that is a little too highlighted will now have a nice stain on it. I see a few areas down here that really need it. And again, don't be too systematic with this. Just get her done. I'm going to put a whole bunch in here. Whole bunch. And then I'm going to pat above it. In this case, I'm going to wipe a little so it doesn't dry completely. And I'm going to let that stain in there. Okay. Guys, we are done. It is put back together, ready to rock and roll. Unfortunately, the very last video I filmed for it, I deleted. Wah, 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 wah. I took a whole bunch of pictures of the completed project, and the pictures I didn't want, I went to delete. And unfortunately, I deleted the last video while doing that. But there really wasn't much to it. It's just clear coating. You want to seal in your freshness. So that's really all it is. This is what I use. I use a brush-on matte varnish that I guess it's kind of made to go with acrylics. You can use it on just about anything, and I do. I have better control with it if I do it by hand. This stuff is real milky when it goes on, but it will dry clear. So I do a real heavy coat the first time, and I allow it to pool up a little bit, you know, in some of the creases. And, yeah, I think, a total of 4 coats. Let me put this down. I did a total of 4 coats, and I let it dry for about 4 hours, and we're ready to reveal the final product. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, here we go. That's my dream cabinet right there, the centipede. I can't believe I don't own a centipede cabinet. I really... All right, enough, I know. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Bam! There it is. The Necronomicionsole is 100% complete. This was such an amazing, fun project from the start, and I wish when I did the initial video for the console itself that I was able to get more detail in there for you, but, you know, shit happens. But let's have a look at the controller, and we'll sign out and everything. Now, mind you, I didn't have the console next to me when I was doing this. I guess it's just my style. It matches up perfectly. And I can't be any more pleased. None of the buttons are hindered. They all work just fine. I was able to scrape out inside there. Of course, I didn't get any of the paper towel inside there. But just give you an idea of some of the detail. And again, my lighting's horrible, so you're not really going to get the full effect of it, but you do get the gist of it. But I can't be any happier. I finally have a custom console setup that I've wanted for a long time. I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it's my cup of tea, and that's the whole point of it. So I hope I really encourage you to go out there and do something. There's a lot of really great console customizers, and they do amazing work, but they can get expensive, and it takes time, and it's a lot more fulfilling to do something your fucking self. And fuck, if you want me to do something like this for you, let me know. Maybe we can work something out. You can trade me a few games or something for it. I don't care. But either way, I really enjoyed making this. And it really is kind of a dream come true to own this. It really is to me, as silly as that may sound. So guys, thank you for walking along with me on this journey. And I hope you got something out of it. That's the most important part. Not necessarily showing anything off, but to inspire creativity and to show that with the simplest of items around your house, you can accomplish really great results. And that was the whole basis of the home haunters, people who did haunted attractions out of their home. It was just everyday materials and stuff and trying to get the best looking product. And that's where I got a lot of these skills from, building props for haunted houses and stuff. Mainly ones that people walk through for free. You know, there was no money involved. So again, thank you so much for joining me in this. I really do appreciate all the positive feedback I've gotten. So I will post a few pictures that I liked at the end here, and that's it. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Take care, and bye-bye. Hey, what's up folks, The Creep here. Thank you as always so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more. You can follow The Creep on social media, and feel free to reach out at any time here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Creep would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you, take care, and bye-bye.